Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Kyle Duck with NOHATMEDIA. I'm here today with this presentation on the 5 ways to keep your clients for longer. We're calling this the secret recipe for SEO agency success and longevity. And you know what? Now that I said it out loud, that title sounds way hypier than I meant for it to. Oh well. Hopefully the content to come will be worth it, right? All right, let's go. Now, what we're talking about today is probably the most important, yet the least discussed key performance indicator for all SEO agencies. As a matter of fact, 99% of the SEO agencies that I've met and encountered with, and with No Hat Media, we've dealt with literally hundreds and hundreds of them from all across the world, yet they seem to pretend it doesn't exist or kind of blow it off when you bring it up. And that is client retention and churn. Now, this photo, in my humble opinion, pretty much illustrates the typical SEO agency approach to the churn rate problem. Yet, you know, yet this factor is so important to your agency success and and it's agency success and profit that if you can figure out ways to improve this, you will not only outlive, but you will outprofit your competitors by a country mile or 10 country miles. Now, like I said, we worked with hundreds and hundreds of other agencies across the world, from huge ones all the way down to kind of mom and pop shops. And over again, we found these 5 keys to building a profitable and lasting SEO client base that isn't turning over every other month. The first key is diversifying your services. Now, we all know from experience that the SEO business can be very fragile. It's beautiful when it's working and making money, but one little wave from Google can come in and just, wipe out your whole castle. And the unfortunate fact of life is that you can do all the right things and still get hit with Google penalties just because Google changes their mind on something, or just you could just even be collateral damage when Google's going after somebody else. Now, how we approach this is that how we approach it for our clients and for the other agencies we work with is we recommend being upfront with your clients about the facts of life. Explain to them that yes, SEO can help them grow their business, but they can grow even more by expanding to other marketing channels, and that they should diversify their not only their risk but diversify their gains by using every available marketing medium, not just SEO. Now, as far as talking about the risk of SEO, we like to do what a marketing mentor, not really mentor, but a marketer I really admire, named Dan Kennedy. He calls this trotting out your ugly elephants. Though I have to feel bad. I didn't mean to call these elephants ugly. They seem quite nice, I think. But what he means by that is, we have to be upfront with our clients and say, hey, the SEO business is risky. Your rankings may or may not last forever. So it's better to have all these different other channels, have all these different other channels bringing you clients and bringing you leads every month, not only for yourself but for your clients as well. Now, if you set yourself up as an agency, a broader internet marketing agency, not just an SEO specialist, to handle all of these online needs, then not only will you be twice as valuable, or 5 or 6 or 10 times as valuable to your clients, but of course you can charge them much more as well. And I think you'll find that with some of these services, they can also be just as profitable as SEO to run. Now, the second key we found is to track your leads. Meaning track the leads that you deliver your clients. This is so important, yet we found that, well, maybe not most, maybe it wouldn't be fair to say most SEO agencies, but a lot of SEO agencies we've dealt with aren't actually doing this. Now, most people just rely on those monthly automatically generated rankings report, which, okay, I don't think clients really love those, but nonetheless. Yet, in our experience, we found that just showing rankings isn't enough. The reason is that, clients are businesses as well. Sorry about that. I had to shut the window. There's some heavy duty construction going on next door. So our clients are, they're businesses as well. They're in this to make money. So we need to show them by the leads that they're generating that there is a direct line from working with us as a marketing agency to delivering money in their bank every month. So they need to see, I guess you'd say, the correlation between rankings and income. Now, there's a few different ways we do this. One, set up special tracking phone numbers from the client's website to so that they know, when a lead, so that they don't they. All right, cut that. Set up special tracking phone numbers from the. All right, cut that. There's a few different ways to do this. One is we set up special tracking phone numbers from our client's website so that they can see, hey, so that they're not using just the normal business phone. They're using a special phone so that we can prove at the end of the month that we delivered X amount of leads and X amount of phone calls. And we also like to set up some, tracking and CRM solutions for our clients. As a matter of fact, if you look below this video once it's over, there's you can see there's a little bonus area, and you can see some of our favorite tools that we like to use for this. Now, this is kind of along the lines of the last one, but we like to take those leads, or recommend for you to take those leads, those numbers of leads. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Cut that. Now, this is kind of along similar lines as point number 2, but we also like to take it one step further for our clients and show them just how profitable those leads are for them. So, in business, you've got to know your numbers. And I'm sad to say, this is the best photo. This is the best photo of alphabet soup with numbers I could find, but nonetheless. Now, if your client doesn't know their numbers, which depending on their level of sophistication, they may or may not, help them get to know them. We like to give these, give their numbers projections up front to help close the deal. Now, if your client doesn't know your numbers, if they don't know what the value of a lead is for their business over a month, over 6 months, over a year, there's a few different ways we like to estimate this for them. Now, kind of my favorite, if you don't have, if you can't get good data from them or can't find comparable industry data, what you can do is use a keyword data from the keywords you're targeting for them. Now, you can do this not only to estimate how many leads you'll be sending your client a month. So if we rank for 10 keywords with a total of 5,000 searches a month, we can say we're giving them X amount of leads. But we can also look at what the competitors are bidding for those leads and use that to determine how valuable they are. So if your client So what we like to do is give our clients up front, give them projections on how many leads we can send them per month. Now, the way we do this is we make a big list of all the keywords that we're going to try to rank them for, and then we assume anywhere for once we get them on page 1, you calculate that data. Say you're going to be ranking them for 20 keywords, or let's say 10 keywords, which should bring them 5,000 visitors a month to the website theoretically. We then calculate maybe a 15 to 20% click-through rate on all those keywords. So if it's 5,000, 20% of that is 1,000. So maybe we're bringing them 1,000 hits a month through SEO. So then you figure out what the so you multiply that by the conversion rate, which could be, depending on the niche, depending on the industry, it could be anywhere from 2 to 5%. And boom, there you have it, the leads per month. So you can go to your client up front before you try to get them to sign on the dotted line and say, hey, for X amount of dollars I charge you per month, I'll deliver you X amount of leads. And if your client knows how much a lead is worth a month to him or worth a year to him, he can do the simple math and know that he's getting a great deal with you. And they also know that if you can deliver on those numbers, that he's going to want to stick with you. However, what if your client doesn't know how much his leads are worth, which, depending on their level of sophistication, he may or may not. Now, in a pinch, you can use Google AdWords to kind of guesstimate this, especially if there's not any, research doesn't show any comparable industry, figures on the value of a lead per year. So what we do is We look up all the keywords or similar keywords that we're trying to rank our client for, and we figure out how much they're paying per click and try to use that as an idea of how much a lead is viable to their competitors. So you just take that, take that amount they're paying per click to their ads and multiply it by a constant. Could be anywhere from 10 to 20, well, really even up to 50 in some industries. So do some research and kind of ask around your client, and ask around and ask your client, and try to get an idea of what they think works. So the kind of number you get when you multiply how many leads you're sending per month with how many with how much that lead is worth to your client a year, that represents the projected yearly value of the leads you'll be generating your client every month. So if you can show your client, hey, for $3,000 a month, I'm generating you $20,000 a year worth of leads, that makes it a real easy decision for them, and it also kind of makes you want to raise your rates. Now, of course, you can alter your monthly reports to deliver these numbers to your clients. So especially when you're using the CRM tracking and everything else, you can say, hey, I brought you in 100 leads per month. This is worth X amount of dollars per year business, and I charge you this. All right, that makes the math very simple for your client, for retaining your client. It's an easy decision for him or her. Now, the fourth principle we like to go with is to know just how much your rankings are costing you. How much it's costing you to rank those clients. Now, with the old way of doing SEO, this is impossible to track. And by the old way, I mean, industry outreach and industry link building and chamber of commerce link building and industry association link building and so on and so forth and so on. You know all about that. Now, one of the problems with this type of link building is you have no idea what your fixed link costs are. You have no idea what kind of bang for your buck you're getting with your SEO and link building efforts. You're just kind of throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks. However, imagine that if you did have fixed link costs, if you knew up front that, hey, I want to charge this client $2,000 a month, and it's going to cost me $2,000 in links to rank him, and then $300 or $400 ongoing every month. Now, you can think about what kind of peace of mind and also what kind you would have, and also what kind of flexibility in packages you'd be able to offer your clients. And not only packages, but flexibility in how you sell to your clients and how you bring clients in. That means you can give, nice sales pitches like trials and performance incentivized plans. But, if like, hey, I'm betting, cut that. Now, that means that you can sell more and bring more clients in without having to do silly, scammy sales pitches. You just know the math. You know what you're betting. You know what you're risking. If you can bet $2,000 up front to win a $20,000 client over the course of a year, then hey, that's an easy bet for a trial. But you can only do that if you know how much the trial will cost you. And a trial is only valuable if, when the client decides not to stay, you can take their rankings away. All right. If you give somebody a trial and you've built all these, Chamber of Commerce Association links for them and Better Business Bureau links for them, all this sort of thing, and they don't keep the trial, you have no recourse. Which brings us to our fifth point: controlling your offsite SEO systems. Now, in my not so humble opinion, this is maybe the single most important part of SEO right now, and has been forever and ever, since the dawn of Google, since that first academic paper that Brin and Page wrote, and probably will be the most important part for the foreseeable future. Yet most SEO agencies don't actually control their links. Now, we already talked about some of the problems with traditional link building, but here are a few more. Like I said, you can't do anything about a client canceling. A client can cancel on you, and they keep the rankings. There's nothing you can do about it. What's more, I think this is kind of a moral issue that doesn't really get touched on at all in the SEO community. But with traditional link building, doing things the old way, you're actually selling property that doesn't belong to you. Now, imagine that somebody said, "Hey, there's this great park over here. You can pay me $10 an hour to put your blanket down and take a picnic here." But it's a public park. He doesn't own it. if you're doing traditional link building, just finding all these kind of publicly available links, it's a similar thing, I think. Now, just imagine about that park scenario. How long would you pay someone for a piece of to rent a piece of property they didn't own? Maybe not for that long. So maybe if you think about it in those terms, you can kind of see things through your client's eyes and see why maybe they wouldn't see why they don't want to keep on your service forever. But if you build real estate the right way, if you own the property, if you build massive cities and massively valuable online properties for your clients, well, suddenly they have a ton of incentives to stay on with you, not just morally, ethically, but legitimate business incentives too, and you're able to offer them a great product. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching this. I hope you found it valuable. I hope you've got some quick, good tips that you can apply to your SEO business. I've got we're here at NOHATMEDIA. We've got more cool stuff coming your way on improving that churn rate and also setting up great offsite SEO systems. So hey, have a nice day. Cheers. Kyle out.